Welcome to the July 17th, 2023 SID meeting. I'm going to ask that we have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. All of our commissioners have had an opportunity to take a look at the agenda. We need to ask for a motion to approve it.
I'd like to make an amendment first.
Motion to approve the agenda by Tony Stolzman.
I want to make an amendment.
Pardon?
Make an amendment.
You want to make an amendment?
To the new business, I'd like to add a proposal for guest passes.
You'd like to do what?
A proposal for guest passes.
A proposal for guest
passes. And also to add Omaha Wrexham outdoor area. A discussion, to start a discussion on that.
Point, you're looking for that to be new business for the proposal for guest passes and in the Omaha Center, and I missed part of what you said.
Just to get a discussion started on what we need to start looking at to do with the Omaha Center.
Thank you, Tony. Is there a second?
I second.
We have a motion that's been amended by Tony. David Nebel has seconded it. Any other further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. I'm looking for a motion here for the approval of the June 19th SID meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I second.
Motion's been made by Ms. Jett to approve the minutes as written, seconded by Mr. Nebel. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. At this time, we had some new people last time who were first-time members, if you will, in this meeting. And I allowed a lot of open discussion at my discretion, which according to Robert's Rules of Orders I can do. However, it got out of hand. Today, I would like to please ask you to follow the decorum for our 3-minute limit. Please come to the microphone, state your name and your address, if you would. And at this point in time, property owners, please, if you want to address the commission, please get in line and we'll entertain your thoughts.
My name is Deanne Draper. 101 Cherokee Road. Been here 20 years. I love this school. That's all I gotta say. I haven't been here for the last few meetings. I don't know when we did this, but this is hot. I love it.
Any more positive thoughts? We'd appreciate those.
That's great.
Anyone, any additional property owners that would like to address the commission?
Hi, Bob Dryer, 16 Capsina Circle. I'm going to read this back to me and get all if you like. I live in South, the reason I'm coming on this, I heard some discussion about the golf course, especially South Course. Let's get my thoughts on it. I've lived in South Golf Course, been history for 6 years. During that time, I've walked my 2 dogs in the park path often. They're always on leash. I always pick up after them if they get the game. During these walks, we encounter golf course employees and golfers. They often ask what kind of dogs they are, and individual breed, according to their ages and their breed history. I've had one complaint about walking dogs in 6 years from elderly little. There's been a recent increase in people walking dogs on the golf course. We moved into our home, somebody golfed me. I'm sure I remember Cowboy and his baby had 3 Raider Force, older guy. And then Diesel was a beautiful boxer that he did, of course. Since then, there's been a lot more dogs. People walk their dogs. I've noticed most of the dogs are smaller, most are not at least, turn the dealer to pick up after them. Now, we currently use 2 fairways. Some dog walkers have to ride their golf cart will let their dog run alongside their heaviest carts. Off road in my yard and do their thing. People walking dogs in cart paths not really a problem. It's only a symptom. Symptom of the village does not have sidewalks or dog parks, simply not pushing in. When we really do live in a house with golf course, we three golfers who want to sit there all in the yard. I have 18 of these bags, 12 balls in a bag, plus 3 other balls. That's a total of 219 golf balls in the last 6 years that I picked up on the yard. I'm not complaining, I'm calm with that. And I allow people more happy to put the ball in my yard. But it is a problem with the golfers driving through the yard against the house, not getting off the car. And let me put up with that.
1 minute, Bob.
Say again?
1 minute.
Okay. What we don't, that's
I got it.
have golf balls hit the house, hit the site, hit the garage doors, turn the screen on course. So remaining, we pay an extra $900 per year in SID fee to build a course. And I think we're trying to get some reasonable exchange for that, some allegiance, if you will, allegiance from any kind of fee restriction that put on it. We also live on weekends, lots of times most of our permits are on Saturdays, and we usually the second weekend at the style. I would just suggest that if you're going to do a fee or something, there's some consideration people live in the court to put up with. We always try to do our thing. I recommend also, if you sit way to do it, anybody walking your dogs has to be on a leash and they got to pick up back, otherwise you side your comments to me. Any comments or questions?
Thank you very much, Bob. Are there any other property owners that would like to address the commission? Thank you very much. Let's move to old business. First is bulk lot sales. We have an upcoming event. Tony, would you like to?
This Thursday, we have put out an invitation to many of the realtors around the area. And Betsy, have you received some replies on some of that?
I would say, without counting them, maybe 8 out of the 10 have replied and said that they would attend.
Okay, and I've also talked to a couple others that would probably attend. So this Thursday, 1 o'clock, it's here, what it is?
Yeah, but is it 1 o'clock?
It's not 1 o'clock.
4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, Thursday. We'll have a working session, closed.
Working session with Dave and I, meeting with them to get their input on both of those. That's our next step.
And just it is a working session, so there'll be no comments from anybody.
Yeah, and we're not making policy, Dave and I are just getting information from all these experts that are realtors that can give us some insight, especially in the local lot sales. These are the ideas that we can bring back and forth.
At this point, I understand there will only be you and David
Right.
And Susan.
representing.
And Susan and Betsy.
Betsy's going to be there for information only.
this point, we'll have Tony and David representing it, because if we were to move with one more additional commissioner, that would require an open forum, even if it is a working session. At this point, we're fact-finding from what we talked about 2 months ago, and that's the direction that the commission wanted to move forward. Which means, Susan, after they finish, we're going to be on top of them to find out what they said. So, any additional discussion on this?
I think that the way that Lucinda explained that to us when we had our meeting was that it was considered a working session. All the commissioners can be included, but not the public. It is a private working session where nothing is being, nothing more than research. No decisions are being made. So I don't think it has to be, it can be 1, it could be 5. It's not, it has nothing to do with it being more than 2 as a quorum. It's just a working session. It's not open to the public. It was by invite.
Betsy, the thought was to have almost a private environment for the 2 commissioners who were running that particular activity. That's why we set it up that way, and while you think that it is okay for all the commissioners to be there, I believe Mr. Stallsmith has come online and said, I thought this was only going to be the 2 of us.
Correct, he did. I replied back with that about the working session. So that was just what I understood. However y'all want to move forward, it'll be Thursday at 4 o'clock.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Because I'm really interested in that one when we get through with it, guys. No further discussion. Let's move on to the golf update rules and regulations. David, you're probably closer than anybody.
After discussion with the lawyers, it has come to us for legal obligations that we cannot allow trespassing on the golf courses. So we're going to be putting signs up that say no trespassing, basically, unless registered at the clubhouse, right? Something like that? That's it?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
No trespassing signs at all entrances to
Well, do you want to put no trespassing signs, or do you want to post the rules? And the rules would say that you couldn't walk. It's number 11. You're going to have to rip the Band-Aid off and put the terminology on there, how you want that to read. But I would suggest that we post all of the rules at the specific entrances, at the front of each of the golf shops. If these are rules that are being adopted, then every one of those rules should be posted. And number 11 is the rule that's held us up from signing anything, so.
That's a legal review from the lawyers, so we're going to put no trespassing signs up on the golf courses.
Do you think it would be kinder and gentler to post all of these so they'll know and
Right.
It'll be on there. It'll say all those
The
too.
rules will be on the sign. We have to get the signage done.
Hold your comments, sir. Hold your comments. Hold your comments.
So we'll get the signage and get them up. That's basically all we have left to do on this. There'll be no trespassing on the golf courses.
And that means specifically
Walkers, dog control, everybody. You have to be registered at the clubhouse.
And to be registered at the clubhouse, you have to be a property owner and pay the fee and pay
Right.
the, okay, I just. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Mr. Nebel, do you recommend that we revisit this next meeting and approve this activity that the lawyers have identified, or can we move forward as a point of order here?
Well, I think the way everything's been going, we need to move forward and get these out there. Because there's a lot of these rules are being broken right now. We've got people that are not paying their fees, that are not paying their cart fees, and they're not paying their storage shed fees. So there will be actions coming on those people too. So I'd say let's amend number 11 to state there will be no trespassing on the courses unless registered at the clubhouse.
Is there further discussion?
Well, read how you want number 11 to, how do you want number
You
11?
say registered at the clubhouse, what exactly?
That means you come in, you pay your fees, and then you go out and play your golf.
Do you have a copy of that
We're
with
not talking
you?
about walking.
No walkers.
Okay,
no-
are y'all reading number 11? It says individuals using the courses for walking, exercising a pet must do so prior to the course opening or after the course is closed. So the clubhouse isn't going to be open.
No.
So we're going to remove the entire verbiage
We're
and
gonna
just
move
say no
11 completely.
trespassing,
Move 11 completely, remove it.
okay?
So who can walk a pet? Who can walk, exercise a pet?
Nobody. It's no trespassing. As per the lawyers.
What about the people that pay the golf amenity? They're not, I mean,
According to the lawyers, no walkers, no pets, no nothing on our golf courses. It's our legal liability. We're just, as they say, covering our butts by putting this up there. Now, enforcing it would be another thing. We don't have the people to enforce it, so if they're out there on the golf course and they get hit by a ball, then they're on their own.
According to Robert's Rules of Orders, David, I should repeat what you're wanting to put in there,
Right.
but I probably would mess it up. Can you please say it again, sir?
What we're going to do is do away with 11 and just move the numbers down one, where number 1 will say no trespassing on the golf courses. And let, no,
May I suggest that if this is the course we want to go to, then it's not ready to be signed tonight.
right,
So let's put it back on unfinished business and let's talk with the attorney and let them give us the terminology
proper
that you're looking for.
right,
Does that make sense?
yes.
That's where I wanted to go, Betsy. Good call, good
and
call.
then involve the golf
Because we need to be really cautious here on this one.
We just need to go with what the attorney's terminology. We'll send
Let's
them what
put
we
it back
have
in.
and give it back to them and say, this is what we want number 1 to say.
Okay.
And then we'll have it for the next meeting for y'all to
For the
review.
old business, correct.
Perfect.
I make a motion, we put this
Table this.
to move to the old business for next meeting with proper verbiage from the lawyers.
Amended motion by David Nebel to table the golf committee rules, golf course rules. Seconded by Tony. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That brings us down to Eclipse information update. And you may want some help there, Ms. Waugh, because I think I was there for quite a while, and they were pretty excited about the opportunities available. And I'm just going to talk to you that the idea is that the focus for the eclipse, which will be on April 8th, 2024, the town center is really the focus that we're trying to do at this point in time, bringing in all kinds of things. The concept that they're working on, and this is A&P for a number of committee people, is live music or a concert, a golf tournament, which Ms. Waugh will head up, I believe. I volunteered you, by the way.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
a bike race was identified, a potential bike race, a 5K and 10K race like we've had during the Pie Festival, a Lake Thunderbird race, which sounds pretty interesting because it's going to be kayaks and paddle boards.
Ooh.
Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to win that, but let's go on to the next one. We're looking at Movie on the Lawn, which is really where the farmer's market has been, only in the area that's been mowed, and they're talking about some good movies for free, where you bring your lawn chair and you're out there, and it should be a great time. The other concept that they brought up was geocaching, which we used to have here in Cherokee. I don't believe it's still operational. I haven't heard about it in a long time. And then we talked about a number of things, a fishing tournament, which is basically in discussion, a pickleball tournament, a tennis tournament perhaps, a volleyball opportunity, kite flying contest potentially, a car show like we've seen down in Harvey at a time. And someone brought up a thing called a poker run, and I didn't think we wanted that, but they might. And then a horseshoe throwing tournament, which I don't have anyone who volunteered for that yet, but those were all really wonderful ideas so that we would focus on, and Betsy, please correct me because you and I have been there, all of them, just about. But we've been looking at a 3 to 4 day activity so that people have all kinds of fun in Cherokee Village, and we sing the good things that are here. Recognize that the Thunderbird Pool can't be open in April. It'll be too cold. We're hoping it's sunshiny for that activity, but if not, we're looking at all kinds of activities so that people aren't here and feel like they've wasted their time, their money, or the activity it was just a bust. Did I forget anything from what we've talked about?
I missed the last meeting, but all that sounds great.
That's where we're headed, and if you have any questions, we have a number of people who've attended former eclipses, and there are ways to go on the internet and take a look at the different eclipses with the internet, if you will, YouTube or something like that, and it's exciting. Any further discussion needed on the eclipse, guys?
Thank you, did great. Do you have a copy of that I could put with the note minutes, or can I make a picture of it?
Yeah, just make a picture of that one. I'll keep it in my records.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. That takes care of our old business activities. Under new business, we are looking at some new bylaws, which all the commissioners have been evaluating. At this point, I'm going to let everyone talk about them before I say anything.
I'll be happy to start that discussion. I printed them and read them, and the language is so very lawyerly, which was distressing to me and boring. The only place, Betsy, that I saw where, and what Betsy's been doing is on the fly, been going through and changing Holiday Island to Cherokee Village. So the only place where I saw anything that we even need to do anything about in these pages is on page 1 of 2, under section 1-2, down 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 district. Somebody misspelled CVSID. Oh, we got an extra I in there, but that's it. But I mean, it's so, I had to look up my vocabulary was increased. There's a word called, herediment. There's some great words in here, y'all, but this is what we're needing as we're moving into the
May I speak?
Yes, please.
I think for the most of that, it is a lot of that lawyer terminology. What certain things in there that I think was important that we looked at was that when it talked about setting specific dates for meetings, being our third Monday, I kind of changed that. If something happens and it has to be pushed back, it automatically has a date set for each month. If there's a working session that comes up, it tells you what day of the month that working session should be. So it kind of gives us a little more structure than what we have now, and I believe that the structure follows through in with the meetings, with how we call attendance and and all of that. I think those are
And it
things
would
that are more
satisfy-
structured than what we do now.
And it would satisfy everybody that says they didn't know when the meetings were and what that was going on, because it would all be on the website.
Well, our website is definitely going to need to be improved,
Right.
but this kind of stuff is going to be just more structure that we have.
I've reviewed it and I've highlighted some sections I think
Awesome.
that need to be changed.
Thank you. Thank you. You got some too?
Yeah, well, we can do after a while.
Okay. After you highlight.
Now,
I got circles on it.
one thing that was requested a couple of meetings ago was for people who are interested in the property owner environment, if they could take a look at them as well. We do not have a system to do that just yet because this is really a working effort. And if you really want to talk about them, then please get with an individual commissioner or with Ms. Waugh and take a look at it. Because we have no secrets here. We are trying to enhance the way our commission functions, as well as improve how we support the folks who are property owners or potential property owners within Cherokee Village. Did I misstate that, anybody?
Also, all of this can be found on the Holiday Island website. That's literally where we're taking the majority of every word for word from there. So when I put on the agenda that it was section 2-32 through 2-25, when you pull up those resources, it'll take you right to those sections. So you'll kind of see the areas that are being addressed specifically. A lot of it is just code and definitions and rules of construction, and some of it isn't as pertinent as others, but it does give us the structure of some ideas with our meetings and stuff that I think will help. It'll change our agenda a little bit. It'll have a little more information to the agenda. It addresses how often we report before a meeting, how much time in advance it needs to be done. It gives a lot of specific information that everybody can read in black and white and understand how we're doing things.
If you want to make a comment, please wait till we have the property owner comment section. I've been whooped on that too much. Thank you. Any further discussion on the section? David, you provided some updates. I have some myself, but
Because do we need to,
we just,
it's in new business, but do we need to hold it for old business and, okay.
yes, we need to hold it for old business as we continue to work through this and make sure that we've addressed the things that any of the commissioners provide to Betsy, or we find an error or a misconception within the confines of those portions of the rules that we're attempting to adopt.
Can we make sure that any of our suggestions get emailed to all of us, so we can look at it for consideration? Make sure that we get a copy of what all, like his, Susan, you said you had some suggestions, we can at least see them before the next meeting for consideration.
Well,
I don't want for discussion, but I would like them to take a look at it, please.
I would suggest that if each one of you reply like David has done, and I can scan this to show what he's highlighted, and then each one can review what the other one has said without any comment.
Right.
I'll go in and make adjustments once y'all decide how y'all want to do it.
And I have a thought that we should move this to old business and move on to the proposal for guest passes. Tony, you have the floor.
Yeah, it seems like, I know we had, and I've had a question about this before, Betsy, about how these guest passes are taken out. I've been up to the office a couple times, and it looked like I was scrambling to get all these guest passes out, and Betsy, our GM, is working really hard, and it seems like her time should be more doing GM business instead of doing all this clerical business.
Hey, can
So-
we stop for 1 second? second. Is there a motion to move your bylaws to
Yes.
unfinished business?
All I'm
I'm
going to
sorry.
do is make
I
a
did-
proposal, I'm not going to discuss it.
Well, we need to
I-
finish
the bylaws.
So we need to
No,
finish the
No,
bylaws.
the bylaw, I
The motion
stepped
for the
over,
bylaws from new to unfinished for the next meeting?
I stepped over that, you're right,
You
thank you for
started it.
correcting it. And I'm the one who said, come on now.
Yeah.
Is there any further discussion on the bylaws issue? All in favor of moving it to
So make
old
a,
business?
so make a motion that we move it.
Susan's made a motion that we move it. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by,
Okay, thanks.
Unfinished
All in
business for the
favor?
next meeting. We got it.
Got
so
it.
Okay, go
thank you
ahead.
for point of order there.
So basically, I just was proposing, 8 seasonal guest passes be obtained for each property. These passes consist of the name of the property owner, address of property, instead of having names. I'm not sure they're even checking IDs or anything in any of these places that we've been to. If you need more than that, the owner can request a 10-day pass for any additional guests. Property owners will be responsible for the actions of their guests, meaning if they do something wrong, it's on the property owner that takes whatever the punishment is or consequence that we have set forth in our other bylaws we have. Any guest in violation of said rules must forfeit the said guest pass, and any forfeited guest passes may be picked up by the property owner on the 3rd business day from the infraction, and a second infraction result in revocation of the guest pass for the rest of the season. And any appeals to be heard by the city commission at the next city meeting. And this is just a proposal, a rough draft, I'm sure.
Do you have another copy?
I gave everybody here a copy, did everybody get one?
No.
You have one?
Here, take mine,
Betsy and I didn't get them.
take mine.
And we can publish these two to make sure that the public also, for the next meeting, can come and chime in on it. That's just my proposal.
I would like us to consider a number of guest passes and then a fee for additional passes, you know.
Well,
Again, I
that's
have
the next
a
meeting,
table
yeah.
full of passes that people have requested and not shown up.
So the next meeting, we'll put that in there, and when someone puts that in there, we'll discuss that as well.
Okay.
I'm just putting this out there for now, just for people to look at.
What about fees for Airbnbs and VRBOs?
Well, I think that would be addressed once you put a limit to a property owner. You know, maybe, I don't know. And Tony, listen, I want to be one of the team. So if we're busy, I step up to the front
I
desk.
understand.
I stay late with them if that's what we need to do.
I understand that, but it seems like I think you should be, I mean, you've got enough to do. And
Oh,
know you
I
like to
totally
do.
agree.
And I'm just trying to find a way to be more efficient. And in the next meeting, we can go over all this and maybe things we take out, or not even use any of it at all. So if that's it. I'm just making a proposal now just to get started.
Okay.
All in favor of adapting Tony's proposal, well, is there a second?
No, it's under
Make a motion to put it to unfinished business.
I make a motion, we move it to old business for discussion at the next meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Tony,
So,
you had-
so we didn't have any extra discussion much, but we're just going to talk about this next month and hash it out. So we'll be, so,
It's gonna be hard to really put it in play this year.
yeah, because our folders are still, I mean,
Yeah, we're almost through the summer
Yeah.
season, so
okay,
it's just more like.
Get ready for next year.
okay.
Tony, you had one more option there. I believe we've already got it moved to old business. What was your last one there?
Omaha Rec Center.
Oh, the Omaha Rec Center.
There's been a lot of talk I've seen from people that are looking, I know we can't do anything about Omaha right now because we don't have the funds, and we're not sure what we want to do with it. And I know recently we received email from a property owner who had a good idea of maybe one possible solution, part of it what we could do. So it just seems like we need to start putting this on the agenda for people to come and start making a plan for the Omaha pool session. If we need another pool, Betsy gave us this Thunderbird pool usage, which she's going to probably discuss in her update. We had some really high numbers on July 4th. Not so much on the other, the rest of the season, but is another pool something that we want to look into or we're able to do? Not only what ideas we can funding is gonna be a key. If it's through another assessment, or if it's through some kind of fundraising, or whatever, you can't just build something without money, so we need ideas for fundraising, as well as ideas for what we want to put there, and start bringing back some of the amenities over there on the pool. So I just want to get that started. I know we're not really having a discussion. I'm sure some people may have some ideas tonight. Next meeting, every meeting, maybe we can start getting some ideas, until we can start maybe formulating a plan to start getting something started. So I just want to get the ball rolling.
Can I speak on that too?
Any additional conversation?
Yeah, Betsy.
Betsy has.
After what we've learned in our process of the Thunderbird pool and that company that we used from Missouri, which does not do new pools. They only do the renovation type work like we did. They do go the extra step with plumbing or electrical when needed. But they sent me some pictures of some municipal pools that they are basically like ours, a rectangular pool with not much to it, and some things that they added to it to make it a more up-to-date pool. So I've asked them to give us a quote for what we have and some ideas. They also connected me to another company that does full brand new pools. And that gentleman is going to actually come in on Wednesday, and he'll kind of assess our location, what our deck sizes are, what we have, and he will also come back with some ideas and a proposal. So it'll kind of give us an idea of what it would cost to go brand new and what it would cost to try to do more than what we're doing with those older pools now. You know, I think that my numbers that I wanted to discuss do show that, you know, if we have it, I think more people will use it. And I do think that if our community is going to continue to grow and more people are going to live here and buy here, then we have to give them things that are comparable from where they're coming. And not many of them are coming from other small towns. They're coming from the city. They're coming from places that have a lot more amenities. So I think we can find a happy medium and not go berserk, but I do think that there has to be a starting point. So I've reached out to these two contractors and hoping maybe before the next meeting we'll at least have a plan that we can show people and an estimated cost. I can tell you they're already saying at least $1.5 million to do brand new with a super large pool on the bottom deck and a separate, what we would have to call a quiet pool. It is no longer allowed to have an adult pool, but it would be the quiet pool on the upper deck. We already know it was at $2.2 million to fix what we had. So that just wouldn't make sense to go back and try to fix or connect to some old system. We need to do better, I think. But we'll have something more to look at, so a good jump start.
Betsy and I, 2 months ago,
Wait.
we went out to look at the pool at Omaha and the pumping area. From what I've seen, and I've done some construction work in my time, it's got to be tore up. They were pumping 10,000 gallons to the one pool before they shut it down. Plumbing underneath is completely, the decking's all buckled, the pool's buckled. We're going to have to start from scratch. I don't think there's any way we can refurbish it. And once again, we're talking $1 to $2 million. So if it comes down to us wanting pools at Omaha, we are probably going to have to do a bond and then do another assessment, which is going to cost us, property owners, money. So it's going to be a decision that property owners and us, the commissioners, are going to have to make if we want the pools at Omaha and how much we're willing to spend for it. So that's just something to put in your mind. So we're not avoiding Omaha, it's the money. And now we're starting to get some money, so you've seen the improvements over at Thunderbird. We're slowly making the improvements. We'll get there someday, hopefully. So that's just what is basically out there, the truth, you know. We're going to have to do an assessment for the pool.
I just have one comment. The only person that's approached me about the Omaha pool recently was they wanted it covered and run 24/7, 365 days a year. And when I started looking at that and talking to the people at the McCabe House, we can't afford that. That's millions and millions of dollars for really, even if we had 5 people coming in the middle of the night. It's just crazy. So that's the only thing, guys. I just can't seal an eye on it. Any other additional comments? All right, I'll entertain a motion then to move that to old business.
Yeah, make a motion to move that to old business.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion to move the Omaha pool issue and upgrade at the Omaha Center by Tony Stallsmith, seconded by David and Joe, and probably Susan and Ron. So, with that, is there any additional discussion or no? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I don't have anything additional on the new business. However, we would like to hear from our general manager. Betsy, you're on.
All right, I put out there on the table, pool usage at Thunderbird has been a hot topic. I know it's been on a lot of the social media that I don't participate in, but I do want to report some of these numbers. And if you'll see down there, I made a note that just the holiday weekend, the Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we exceeded our capacity and literally had a line of people waiting to get into the Thunderbird pool. So as people left, we allowed people to come in. Our capacity number is so low with 50 at the pool and 6 in the kiddie pool that it does make it a little more difficult, but I do think that these are really interesting numbers for a couple of facts that from Memorial Day through July 11th, we've had a total of 2,385 paying admission customers. That does not include the over $2,000 we collected in swim passes. That doesn't include the ladies that swim in the mornings. And if you also see, we broke it down to property owners and guests. 1,447 were property owners versus the 938. So I really thought that our guest numbers were the higher numbers, but it was property owners that have visited the pool more than our guests. So I thought those were good numbers to be able to share. We broke them down by the day. You'll see the days that the weather wasn't as good, there was a lot fewer people that visited. But for the most part, the pool is functioning really well. We're getting good feedback and the people seem to appreciate it. Any questions from y'all about Thunderbird?
Thank you.
The other update was for lake safety and the 4th of July events. I think 4th of July went relatively well. I know it's hard to compare it to Memorial Day since we didn't have an actual boat in the water on Memorial Day. But the new motor is running fabulous. It is great to have the boat out there and the confidence that we're not going to break down. We didn't see a ton of violations. I know we had some life safety violations, life vest. We had a boat reported. They called the SID office. I was able to get them to lake safety, and actually I got on the boat and we went out and found the boat. It was 13 young people that didn't have 13 life jackets, and 3 of them were for 50 pounds or less. And they were very respectful. They went right back to the house, dropped off a whole bunch of kids, and they docked the boat because it didn't have a sticker on it. We had 2 that were speeding. We had one, a rental boat that was pulling an inner tube behind it on Sequoia. I mean, the violations were pretty minimal. We invested a little bit less than $100 in one of the radar guns. It works really well, and it's nice to be able to show the owner of the boat what it said, what we're actually clocking them at. It kind of reduces that point of confrontation as well. It is what it is. It's still a challenge, but I do think for the most part the holiday went really well.
Yes, please.
I had the opportunity on the 4th of July to sit at Sequoia, the ramp at Sequoia, and I took an ice chest with water in it, and I had some red, white, and blue necklaces and headbands, and I was just talking to people. And we had a couple that I had to turn away who they've always put their boat in there, and why was I going to stop them? There were just 2 of those. Everyone else had a sticker, was so glad that I had my Sid shirt on, we were checking them and being nice to them, and did they have life jackets and this and that and everything. So I would like to tell y'all that we, Sid, especially Lake Safety, did an awesome job with keeping track of people over the 4th of July. So it was just a wonderful experience, and the people that had guest passes were glad that we were enforcing that, and so it was just it was a good thing that we had a presence, and it made everybody happy except that one pickup truck. The other guy was okay, but the one pickup truck wasn't too happy. So that's it. Thank you for the time.
Any additional comments? The only one is we watched from North Lakeshore for about 6 hours and witnessed the same thing that Ms. Waugh talked about, with the exception of the one boat that probably had overloaded. And we did see a number of people who had towed and not followed the guidelines when they had their kids behind their boat. They weren't really following the correct path that we asked them. I did not see our lake safety guys stop them. And the reason why I say that is what I witnessed was if the kids fell off their tube or their device that they're towing, the person in the boat immediately would turn around, and I witnessed that multiple times. And had I had a boat to go out there, I would have probably not said anything, would have contacted our lake safety guys and said, please make sure that the individuals who have rented a pontoon, because it was clearly one of the rented pontoons, understand what our guidelines are so that they're safe, period. So that's the only thing that I would have to add, if that's fair.
I did speak to Mid-Lake Marina because there's also been a lot of conversation about the rental boats, and they actually have a placard that has the rules and regulations posted on the boat. Now, our rules maybe have changed a little bit. Maybe the wake boat stuff could be shared a little bit more, but that's not part of the rental. And so I think...
Weather service alert has been issued.
Sorry.
I'm with you. I was out there several times and sort of incognito to check. To me, it just was smooth as it could be. I saw 2 or 3 violations going on, but nothing just major that would make me want to scream. And going to the ramps at each different lake, and I will say this, the signage that we've got up now at the smaller lakes has almost completely stopped all the floaty, swimmy, just people driving in from who knows where to go swimming. I've seen very little of that. Not going to say it's completely quit, but that's great, and kudos to whoever did that. But I spoke with our lake safety people. I mean, they're on top of it. Paul's phenomenal. I mean, I think we did a great job.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. At this point, I'm going to reiterate, please, if you have a property owner comment, limit it to 3 minutes and come to the microphone, state your name and your address.
Page 35 Cherokee. On social media, I've seen this before, but just a day or 2 ago, there are non-property owners. So I'm kind of speaking for them that now they live here, they rent here, they have long-term leases, but they have difficulty using properties. So I don't know if there's a way to think about finding a way to sell them membership into the different places, maybe at a higher rate, since they are not property owners, but they actually have a lease and you can require the lease or something to begin the show. So, you know, they're not privileged to come up here as a non-property owner. I think it's something to consider because there are a number of long-term rentals up here as well.
We do have a policy in place that if you have a lease, what we see the majority of the time happen is that we have leases where people no longer live. They expired a few years ago. They say, well, we still live there, but our landlord won't let us sign another lease. We just say, if you don't have a current lease, then we're not able to give you anything more than a 14-day. Have your landlord contact us. You know, a few times we've had people that are going to use the pool. That's really what they're wanting is access to the pool. And once they get their guest card, they can buy a guest pass. And that's kind of promoted them to do the $45 and go all summer and not have to pay again. So that's kind of worked on that way. But we do have some of those landlords that don't do lease renewals annually. And the people sometimes stay there longer than their lease is. And we're just asking them to bring us some kind of documentation that they're still currently in a lease with that property owner.
Okay.
Thank you.
Scott Lears, 55 Montegila. I think everyone appreciates all that the board is doing, especially with the upgrades and Thunderbird here. Also, I think it's kind of ironic and good timing that you recognize that there's a need for more money. And so I hope that even though you haven't got a subcommittee on this bulk sale thing, that you recognize that the bulk sales is an opportunity for Sid to actually make more money and not give up money. And aside from not doing exemptions and all these other things that have been brought up before. So I appreciate the timing that you all bring up both these issues and hope that you remember that and keep that in mind. Thank you.
Douglas MacArthur, 157 Flathead. Since I noticed they were discussing the bylaws, this is so minor, I think everybody's going to yawn. But when I was a candidate in the very beginning, I dropped out before the election. One thing I could not understand, and I know Betsy said we had to mail every single property owner, they're equal. You know, the fellow in Vermont that got lots, pays his fees, he's just as much as I am. One thing in the bylaws, this is just my opinion, I think should be changed. And that's the fact that you have to be a resident to be a commissioner. I don't think we're going to get people from Vermont or out of the area that say they want to be on it. But it's just the principle, if you're an we're all equal, regardless where we live. And I think the voters most likely would not vote for someone who is not a resident, so that part would be solved. The other thing was when it was stated in the bylaws, if any one of you are no longer a resident of Cherokee Village, you have to resign. I disagree with that. And I'll give you a quick example. Suppose one of you always wanted a horse farm, and there's one coming up, say in Ash Flat. You're still going to keep a lot, you're an avid golfer, you have a boat. I see no reason. City elections, yes, residency matters. City residency means nothing, and it shouldn't for anything. Property ownership is what counts. One last quick thing. It was rather refreshing today to hear David Nebel's comments, that the board looks into things, checks legality, and makes a decision. You can't please everybody, so sometimes you've got to make tough decisions, and it was good to hear it.
Thank you.
Are there any additional property held? Thank you, Peter.
Peter Martin, 158 East Lake Shore. I'll use that the rest of
Because technically, if I'm a property owner, and I'm here, I'm not trespassing. If I'm standing at the golf course, I'm a property owner, I'm not trespassing. So maybe you ought to reword that a different way, because you could also use that for people on the lakes. Oh, lakes are closed at 8 o'clock, don't open until 9 o'clock in the morning. If you're there, you're trespassing. So that's a bad thing. The other thing that I think is a really good subject is the pools. We have an alderman at 6 o'clock tonight, we're going to have a working meeting in Cherokee Village, and he wants to have a recreation committee and a pool committee. Now, I think it's silly that multiple governmental entities are trying to do the same thing with your money. So it would be nice if these entities might find a way to get together and get rid of all the weird stuff on the sides and come out what is best for the residents of Cherokee Village. Pluses for the city to have pools. Well, we can get grants where SID you can't get grants. If we had a pool, then everybody would have to be in it because it'd be a public pool. So, you know, there's that. Maybe some can be work with leases. I don't know. But anyways, it would be an interesting thing for whoever's on the SID commission to get together with the people at Cherokee Village and get together and see if some creative thing can be done. The other thing with pools is maybe we can get it broader and get the county involved. Because we know if there's a pool here in Cherokee Village, everybody in the area will want to be using it. So maybe it's something that, like we tried to do with the dogs, that we all get together and say, this is what the area needs, and even work with the school. Boy, if we could actually have a covered pool that had regular hours.
1 minute, Peter. 1 minute, Peter.
Oh, 1 minute. Oh, but I mean, it's a great thought. I just would like us to stop working apart and find a way that the thought, the pool itself is a great idea. I say for years it'd be nice to have some place for the kids to learn how to swim rather than throw them in the lake and teach them there. And we did have that happen on Lake Sequoia for several years. We had somebody coming out there and teaching young kids how to swim. But thank you very much for your time. Have a wonderful evening.
Rob, 36, Thomas Arbitraries.
I'm sorry, what? Who?
Rob, Thurman.
Rob Thurman.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
The solar eclipse thing, is that, when you guys talking about doing festive, because it's on Monday, correct?
Tuesday.
The actual eclipse, is that correct?
The actual eclipse is April the 8th, 2024, and it's going to be a 4-minute activity,
Correct.
which is really fantastic, but you'll have an hour and a half before, as the sun begins to darken the sky and go away with the moon in front of it. Then you'll see a diamond ring, then you'll see the actual eclipse, and then it'll migrate to the other side, and it will be a tremendous opportunity for people, because we won't see another one for a long time.
I think it's on
I
think it's on
Monday.
Oh, is it
No,
on Monday?
if it is on Monday, around noon, I think,
Well-
something like that. But the festivities you're talking about, is that, are you guys going to, because also you're going to have a lot of out-of-town people here. So are you going to break those festivities up over the weekend, and then Monday after eclipse is pretty much the wrap up for it? I mean, is that your planning for it?
You know, let's think about inviting you to the next eclipse meeting in Town Hall, because we do discuss that, and we have a number of committees who
I
are
didn't know you
for
had
it.
such a thing, so.
So Rob, can I get with you and get your phone number, and we'll get you on the next invitation list? They're pretty regular. Okay.
And one thing I didn't want to say is, since you're going to have all those out there, it'd probably be a good time to have a couple of realtors set up their little tents and booths there at the same time, and have a lot of literature, because while people are here, they might want to go and talk to a realtor, maybe get some information, since we're going to.
That is currently in the works,
It's
Rob.
on-
Yes,
it's
sir,
on the
with a
list.
number of individuals, so I don't mean to interrupt you,
No, no,
but
no, it's fine, that's fine.
Rob, I have the next Eclipse meeting as August 9th, which is a Wednesday, and it's at City Hall at 3 o'clock.
Okay, all right.
So you might check with them and make sure.
Tony,
I got it.
Oh, thank you.
thank you.
Yes, indeed.
Bob,
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
Okay,
Hi, Bob Gerard again. I need to revisit the discussion or
Wait.
decision. Where are you on the trespass as far as the golf course? Are you tabling that, or should it pass, or where are you at on that?
You asking me?
It was confusing, I didn't hear everything.
On own business,
Well,
right?
what I understood him to say is that we're going to get back with the attorney to get the proper terminology, but they're
Okay.
not going to allow walkers, dog
Okay.
walkers, any of that.
Okay.
And it'll be on the unfinished business again at the next meeting after we have the proper terminology from the attorneys.
I would make a couple comments. I always said, pay $900 a year extra citizens to be on the golf course, okay? If I want to golf, it's another $45 for one day for me. I live in a lake, I go out the line for nothing. So that doesn't quite mesh common sense with me, where they're charging me the same amount of lake where they just about the line, paying nothing. The other thing is, I think, where does that leave me as a property owner? People come, I'm not asked, okay, I let people come and get the ball or whatever. We'll take the money, I might keep track of this yard, it's happening again yesterday. And how would I be a good neighbor, if you know, like I hope you guys are trying to be, with people around the golf course who tolerate people, don't use that word, tolerate the golfers. You know, I want to, we're all live together, we want to be there and enjoy each other's company, but now you're on a wall between me and the golfers. No, that's appropriate. So for that, put the no trespass signs up in the yard, be a country guy, yell at him, or cite him, or shoot him, seriously, it's not seriously, you know what it is? You're putting me in a position.
Hold your comments.
so,
No, not you.
so Bob, what do you want us to do?
I would just take a look at what I gave you, his consideration, people who have property on the golf course, some exception to your proposed trespass thing, because we're putting up some things too, okay? And I do know, I'm out to the fairway, out to the path. Just, I know the golf appreciate that when I'm on my yard, so I'm trying to do my thing, and everybody's safe, and hopefully people be respectful of me. Well, I think a lot of people who don't golf, I realize that golfers, especially driving, get out of the way, out of sight, and you're not annoying them to drive. Be courteous, good golf etiquette. But a lot of people who golf realize that. So those are my comments. So just has to be considered seriously. Look at people live on the course. We want to get bigger. Okay?
David, you're doing that already, but we'll continue that. Thank you.
My name is Michelle Peterson. I live 16 at Senior Circle on the South Golf Course. And I guess my concern is what you're talking about as far as the trespass being on the golf course. I, see both fairways. We have a view of double fairways. We're on the 17th fairway, and we see a lot of stuff that goes on there. Probably shouldn't be happening as far as people using their dogs when people are out golfing. Obviously, we own 2 dogs. That's not happening. My concern is the trespass issue. If we put something in there like that, you are now pitting neighbors against neighbors on that golf course. I live catty corner to Dr. Cverokee, who's an internal medicine doctor, who's lived there like 30 years. He walks every night with his wife. Now he's not going to be allowed to do that, walk on the golf course every night, because they're going to have trespassing going on there. I think what you're doing, going that far, is not welcoming to bring new people in, but I do think there needs to be some stricter rules about when the golfers are out there. I agree with that. But to put up a wall of no trespassing, now you're going to pit those neighbors against neighbors, and you're going to be a golf course that is owned by all of us. So I just really want you to take that in consideration when you put something out there like that. My middle daughter was a dentist up north. They have a golf course in LeClaire, Iowa. And yes, they have specific rules when the golfers are out there, but my daughter and neighbors by them can go on that golf course and walk with their kids and bring their golf court and not be golfing. And it's a lot more exclusive of a golf course than the one we have. So just be really thinking that over before you end up putting no trespassing on there.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kathy Ingles, 19 Ontario Lane, Cherokee Village, and I'm just going to be real brief. What I think you're going to have happen with somebody, if you issue a trespassing ticket and your attorneys tell you it's okay, I think what's going to happen, what would happen is that somebody's going to say, no, I pay dues, I'm going to fight this. And then when they fight this, they're going to subpoena Betsy to tell the court where where all the dues go, basically, where all these dues that everybody pays, what percentage from everybody's property tax goes to what. And then you're going to have a case of malicious prosecution, because you're going to find out that that person is paying a percentage on that golf course, and that they have a membership right to be on any amenities that they're paying for. And I know you can sit there and shake your head till the sun goes down, but they're paying for it. These golf courses are not self-sustaining. It's just like if you want to take a walk and stroll around the pool, you can do it. You don't have to go swimming. So that's all I've got to say. Is I think that the smartest and the easiest way is just let people walk before they play and afterwards. That's all I've got.
Are there any additional property owners that would like to address the commission? Well, I have one comment. You've seen me follow the Robert's Rules of Orders point blank tonight. You've seen me in a cruel and unusual mode. Most people know me and they would say, that's not right. However, it is imperative that we as a commission follow Robert's Rules of Order or the Arkansas Rule of Law first. And that's what you'll see from here on out from me until I'm no longer the chair and I get to sit in the chairs that you all are in. Do we have a need for an executive session? No need for an executive session. With that, I want to personally thank all of you for attending and allowing us to address some of the situations that we've been working hard to fix for quite a while. I appreciate the activities for the enhancements of the amenities that Ms. Waugh has been targeted and working on. I appreciate the effort for all of our commissioners who get out there and talk to individuals. And I know we're doing that. I know we're doing our best to help, not hurt. With that, thank you very much.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion's been made by Mr. Nebel to adjourn, seconded by Mr. Stallsmith. Any discussion? Let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No one's opposed. Motion carries.